everybody. Welcome to the 10th episode of YLC Chats. Today we have a really exciting episode with someone that a lot of you in the Best Buddies community probably know about, David Quilleon from West Palm Beach, Florida. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Dana, do you want to ask David the first question?
Yes. So how did you become involved in Best Buddies?
Well, so I actually got involved and learned about Best Buddies when I was in college at the University of South Florida in 1991. My mom had actually started a program way before Best Buddies even existed. She matched up the Key Club in my sister's high school with her special education class, and they formed about 13 friendships. And it was life-changing for my sister, Kendra, who has a disability. And it was actually even featured on NBC Nightly News on a segment back in May of 1987. And so when I got to college, there was a new group starting, and Anthony Shriver had visited my campus, and he was looking to start 6 chapters of Best Buddies in the state of Florida, of which my college was one of them. And so I agreed to come on board, and I became the treasurer of the chapter and got matched up with my own buddy. And then my 2 siblings were involved in the Best Buddies program at USF. So that's how I got involved. And I never, ever would have believed that almost, 30 years later, that I would still be involved in the organization and it would end up being my job. So you never know, what things, how things are going to go and what things are going to happen. But I couldn't be more grateful to have a job where I actually am changing the world with the power of friendship.
Awesome, David. So what is your current role within Best Buddies, and what do you do in that role?
Sure. Well, so Dana, I started at Best Buddies actually as a program manager, and I lived in Orlando, and I managed all the Florida colleges first, and then I actually got to expand and manage some of the colleges in the Southeast region as well as the state of Florida. And from that experience, I just kept growing with the organization, and we were continuing to expand and be able to, bring the mission of Best Buddies to so many different schools. And so now today, I actually serve as the Senior Vice President, Global Mission, State Development and Operations for Best Buddies International. And I work to support all of our staff and participants in the field and helping make sure that they have a phenomenal experience and making sure that we are doing our best to bring friendships, to bring jobs, to bring leadership and inclusive living opportunities to as many people with intellectual and developmental disabilities as possible, and making sure that we have the funds necessary to be able to provide our programs and keep people really excited about, what's possible for our organization and the abilities of people like you.
Okay. And what is your favorite thing about Best Buddies?
My favorite thing about Best Buddies is the people. I think that we attract an amazing group of individuals who are all so committed to inclusion. They practice the elements of kindness and joy and love every single day. And so I love being able to meet everyone within the family of Best Buddies. I find so much joy in being able to interact with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, with their families, with our student leaders and our community volunteers. So I just couldn't be more impressed with the people we bring to help support our organization. And I think it really symbolizes that essence of our mission when we say, we are a global volunteer movement. And that couldn't be more true. I think we are a global volunteer movement that is truly bringing joy and love to so many people. And I would say that's my favorite thing about Best Buddies.
Hi, David. Why do you think the Best Buddies mission is so important?
So Ryan, I think it's so important to be able to promote the mission of Best Buddies because unfortunately, there are still so many people that may have never, ever had an experience interacting with someone with a disability, and maybe they don't know how that goes or what that might be like. And so I think it's important to provide these programs in our schools to be able to help it share the abilities of our participants and be able to, maybe even introduce a student for the first time to someone with an intellectual and developmental disability and what that means for the future, because those are individuals that could one day be in a position where they're hiring someone and they have an opportunity to bring on somebody with an intellectual or developmental disability into their workforce. So I think it's so important to be able to, continue to advocate for those friendship programs. I also think, everyone, whether you have a disability or no disability, can benefit from connection. And I think we've seen that so much now with COVID-19 and the pandemic. But, I feel like there's so many people that spend so much time on their phone, looking at their phone, that they're not looking right here. What's happening, right here in front of you, being able to connect. So being able to help, student leaders and people in school identify and figure out, like, how do you navigate through the social stratosphere of making friends? And I think now more than ever, all of us can continue to learn to be a really good friend. And so that's why I think the mission of Best Buddies is so important, because that's what we're doing. We're telling people, anyone can be a friend, and it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes commitment, and it takes an investment from all of us to have time to share our hopes and our dreams and our goals and our fears, and to be able to connect with that in a really meaningful, mutually enriching way.
Awesome. What are some changes you would like to see in our country in regards to inclusion?
Well, I first would love to be able to continue to change the game a bit for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, especially as it relates to transition. Ryan, you may remember when you were transitioning from high school, there's a lot of conversations with, educational professionals about what's next and what the future looks like for a person with an intellectual or developmental disability and what opportunities are in front of them. And I think so many times, frequently, the first thing they want to present is, a custodial opportunity, rather than saying, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? What are your career goals? And certainly, like every single one of us in our jobs, we all have to start someplace. I started working at Chick-fil-A when I was a high school student. Actually, even before that, I delivered newspapers. But all of us have, a trajectory of how we get to where we are. So I think it's really important to develop those job skills. But I think we have to change the conversation and change the mindset for society about what is possible for people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. You guys know, we have, individuals with disabilities performing in the Super Bowl and modeling, for major, networks and magazines. We have someone who's on an episode of The Good Doctor. Tonight we have individuals who are amazing speakers and amazing advocates who, work in retail, or they work in medicine, or they work in technology. So I just want people to think in a bigger way about what's possible for every single one of our participants in society and in the workforce.
That is great, David, because I know after I graduated from high school, I went to work at a crayon place in Lake Worth, and I developed some of the skills when I was working at the crayon place. So it's very great on how that I was able to move on because mostly especially people with IDD, when they graduate from school, they will graduate on the couch and not go
right.
and get a job. So which I think that's very important, that we need to end the stigma in today to get people to go out and work and to make a difference out in their communities. So I think it's great.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Ryan. And I think, too, I mean, I heard a staggering statistic that if you're a person with an intellectual or developmental disability and you don't have a job by 30, the likelihood that you'll ever have a job is very slim. So I think the clock is ticking really fast for so many of our high school and transitional students to be able to find the job and the career that they want to pursue, and to be able to help them do that. And I think the other thing I'll just mention too is that I am such an advocate just for that connection piece of Best Buddies, and that what it means to have a friend. I think all of us can probably identify the person in our life who's our best friend or one of our best friends, and they're the individuals that challenge you to be your best. But your friends also, they help you. They help connect you to new apartments. They help you connect to relationships. They help connect you to a new job. And that element of friendship, I think, is so critical to every single one of us. And what our friends can do to help support us in, meeting our dreams and helping accomplish our goals for the future. I love that that's what, Best Buddies is doing in schools and in communities around the world.
I love the points you made there, David. I couldn't agree with you more. There has been a bit of discussion, though, about this idea of a transition. And I think especially within the past year, the biggest transition for everyone has been COVID. So my question for you is, how have you stayed connected with your colleagues and the Best Buddies community during COVID-19?
Well, it's been really hard, just like it is, I think, for everyone. And especially, I love connecting with people in person. I think there's nothing as spectacular as being able to sit across from somebody, whether it's over a pizza or a milkshake or a hamburger, and laugh and joke and share and smile and cry and, just share your life with somebody like that and have those moments. And I think, COVID has made that look a little bit different for every single one of us. Now we're Zooming, and, our families are all spending a lot more time with each other. But, if a lot of the individuals that I have worked with through Best Buddies, they're living independently and alone, and then they're all alone. So Zoom and these virtual opportunities are critical for them to feel engaged and connected to, in life. So for me, I think it's been really important to, do this as much as possible, and to reach out to the individuals who I know are feeling lonely and isolated, and just reassure. We don't all have all the answers. We don't know when this is going to be, over, but I know it's not going to be forever. And I hope that it's going to make every single one of us be that much more grateful for when we are sitting across the table from a friend, being able to share our hopes and dreams.
That's a really great perspective, especially with how hard everything has been. I definitely agree with you. I feel very thankful that we are so lucky to have the technology and ability to connect with each other, even virtually, during this time, because I feel like it's so important and everyone needs connection, especially now. So yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. And my final question for you is, what are some of your goals for Best Buddies in the future?
Well, I love the fact that the overall goal for our organization is to put ourselves out of business. And I think while that's a huge goal, and unfortunately, I feel like we're a long way from being able to make that happen, I see moments of clarity where I feel like it's possible, and we have to keep pushing, and we have to keep advocating and keep being champions for our friends with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So that's always, in the forefront of my mind. As far as, direct goals to be able to see, today and tomorrow, I want to see us be in more chapters and more schools. I want to see us, really connect with the kids and be able to help them, recognize the importance of those connections. And, it's not all about, video games or what's happening on your phone. It's a lot about what's happening here right in front of you. And, helping people appreciate those connections. So that, I would say, that's a goal for me and for Best Buddies. And I'm really excited about our new pillar, the inclusive living. I think a lot of the living opportunities for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities have been limited, and being able to be a part of another solution in that regard, and hopefully being able to elevate more opportunities and more options for people to how they choose to where they want to live. And I think, the unemployment rate for people with intellectual disabilities is, who knows I don't even know what it is now after COVID. I'm sure it's significant. Prior to COVID, we used the number of 84%. So I think, we all have to work collectively together with other organizations, with each other, to really try to identify, opportunities, because I know that our participants want to work, and they want to be part of a diverse workforce. And I know that they can be amazing contributors to the workforce and to the bottom line for businesses when given the opportunities and when given the proper supports to be successful.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, David. I'm so glad that we could have you on our channel tonight. We loved hearing everything that you had to say, and we're so glad that we have you in Best Buddies. And so we're going to link your social media down in the description below if anyone wants to follow David on Instagram or Facebook. So this has been the 10th episode of YLC Chats. Can't believe we've already made it 10 episodes, but definitely subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you all so much.